Hello, hello. Welcome to Tom Talk Live. Appreciate you guys being here this evening. Hope you're doing well. My days are a little thrown off, I'll be honest. I took a couple days off for vacation, and so like my whole week has just been thrown off. It just feels, like have you ever taken a couple days and then you're like, what day is it again? So that's kind of where I'm at. But it is Tuesday, so I had to look, but I checked and it is Tuesday. So I wanted to kind of do something a little special tonight. I've been doing some live streams and they've been pretty casual, and I decided I think I'm going to do something a little more kind of structured. And I had some ideas that I wanted to share, and so that's kind of what I wanted to do this evening. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So I wanted to say hi to a new follower here, BNS Roberts. Ola, welcome. Glad you are here. Oh, wait, I think I know who this is. So I wasn't sure based on the name, but I think I'm pretty sure I know who it is now. So welcome. It's good to have you here. I hope you liked my little intro. That's actually a throwback to when I used to do more live streaming for my classes. I had a little countdown timer, and it just made it a little bit easier, gave everybody time to kind of get there and get settled in. And I kind of like it because usually when I hit the live button, I'm like looking over here to see when it actually starts. Because when you hit the go live button, it actually has like a little spinner and it takes a minute for it to actually start. And so you're kind of waiting, looking at it. And then as soon as you see it's going live, then you can start. So it always kind of is weird when I'm looking over here. So the timer kind of helps that, and then a little music to go along with it. So let me know what you thought of my music selection. So yeah. But also BNS Roberts, I don't know if you want me to use your name or you don't want me to use your name. So just let me know if it's okay to use your name or if you'd rather me not, because I'm fine either way. But yeah, thank you all for being here. So I wanted to introduce the topic that I'm going to be talking about. And I posted it on Facebook, but I know some of you might not have seen it on Facebook. But basically, this is the topic talking about how do we really create change in our lives. And I feel like this is something that's valuable because how often do you, if you're like me anyway, where there's something that you want to do in your life, there's some kind of change you want to make, something new you want to start, and sometimes it can be very challenging, right? Sometimes it can be difficult to like really, even if it's something that's good for you and you want to do it, it's like there's still this barrier. There's still something that's keeping us from doing it. And then even when we start doing it, then sometimes there can be things that will basically make it short lived, right? Where we do it a couple times and then it drops off, right? Then we're not doing it anymore. And it's like a thing that we did once a long time ago and then never did it again. So let me know if you've ever done anything like that. Um, okay, Sam, good. So I didn't want to use your name if you didn't want me to, but I didn't know who you were at first. I'm like, hey, this random person found me on YouTube and is saying hi. But I should have known with the Ola. So Sam, it is good to have you here, and welcome. So yeah, talking about how do we create change. So let me know if there's something that you have, some kind of change you've tried to create in your life, where yeah you wanted to do something and you just struggle to do it. And I've done. I'll share some stories about myself because this has been kind of a problem that's come up again and again, right? Where there's changes I've want to make. A lot of them around my health, like just trying to be a healthier person, trying to eat better, trying to exercise, all that same stuff. And that's pretty typical, right? I mean, I feel like a lot of people deal with that. You have those few individuals that just seem to be able to do it and it's no problem, right? I'm always jealous of those people. Do you know anybody like that that's just like maybe they're really into exercise and they go to the gym every day and it's just like super highly motivated? And I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with, consistently. I'll do it for a little while and then it kind of drops off. And then maybe I'll start up again and then it drops off again. And so the question is, how do we really make a change, especially a change that will stick around, something that will stay with us? I think that can be a very challenging thing to do. And so I've been kind of thinking about this and trying to um, come up with ways that we can kind of get past some of those barriers. And so I've come up with kind of three things that I want to share with you. And then these aren't, these are things that are still difficult to do, right? I might give you what they are. I'm going to tell you what they are in just a second. But even once you know them, it's not always easy to implement them, right? So it's not going to make things necessarily magically easy, but if we do these three things, then that will bring about change, right? And I'm going to talk about some of the barriers that kind of come with these three things as we go through it. So the first thing that I want to talk about that makes the difference as far as creating change in our lives is taking action. And I want to kind of define what I mean by taking action, because I think a lot of times we get caught up in preparation, but not actually taking action, right? Not actually doing the thing. We get so tied up in getting ready to do the thing, and we spend all our time and effort in the getting ready part, and then never quite get around to actually doing it. And I think I talked about this in a previous stream and talked about it before, but yeah, it's definitely something that has been an issue for me, right? Where I'm preparing and sometimes it feels good to be preparing, right? Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm making progress, and I'm doing something. When if we're really honest with ourselves, we're not doing the actual thing, right? The preparation, while sometimes necessary, can start becoming like a perpetual preparation cycle where it's just we keep coming up with things. And really what ends up happening is we feel like it has to be perfect, right? We feel like everything has to be set up, everything has to be perfectly lined up. And once we get it all ready and once it's all perfect, then we'll be able to actually do the thing. We'll be able to step out and take action. So, what I'm suggesting to you right now is to go ahead and take action, right? Find whatever it is, right? Think in your mind about what it is that you want to change, what change you want to create. What is it in your life that you want? And then how can you take action now, right? So not just preparing for it, but actually doing it. And realizing that it's okay if it's not perfect, right? It's okay if you don't have everything lined up and it's not exactly how you would like it to be in order to be able to take action. So we're talking about imperfect action that we're taking. And that's okay, right? It's okay that it's imperfect because even if we spend hours and hours and days and weeks and just a really long time preparing, it's still going to be imperfect, isn't it? Right? It's never going to be perfect. And so why not go ahead and take action, right? Why not go ahead and get started with it? And then as you are working through it, as you're actually doing it, you'll be able to change it, you'll be able to tweak it, you'll be able to make it better and improve it as you move along. And that's just the way of life. And we know that, right? I mean, anything you've ever tried to do in your life, you probably didn't do it perfectly the first time, right? Whatever it is, even if you became really good at it at some point, the first time you ever did it probably wasn't amazing, right? Probably wasn't perfect. And you got better at it as you went. And so I keep telling myself this, right? Like, go ahead and just do it, right? Don't wait for it to be perfect. And in fact, the live streams that I'm doing now that you're watching, this is a product of me taking action, right? Instead of thinking, oh, I gotta have it just right. My studio's not set up exactly how I want it to be. I need to get this light actually. And if I change this background and at one time I was talking to my wife about, oh, I need to paint the walls. She's like, you're not getting paint. You got once you start doing some live streaming, if you decide you want to paint something after that, that's fine. But you need to actually do something with it first. But that's how like my mindset was like, oh, I need to change all these things. I need to make it better. I need to make it perfect. And then I'll be able to actually do it. And I realized it doesn't have to be, right? It doesn't have to be. I can go ahead and start taking small, imperfect actions, start taking steps, real steps towards the thing that I want, the change that I want. And so think about a change that you can make, right? Think about what that action would be, that even if it's a small one, even if it's an imperfect one, right? What's the action step that you can take right now that will start moving you towards that change that you want in your life? Think about it for a second. And if you're here with me live, please say hi and maybe tell me who you are, where you're from, and I only have 2 viewers, and I think I know who they are, so I know where they're from. But if you're watching this later, yeah, please feel free to also comment. This will be up on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page as well. And if you get a chance, if you're a Facebook friend of mine, you're seeing this on Facebook, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. I'm going to start posting more content over there, so you can take a look at that if you'd like. Okay, so we've talked about the first point, right? Taking action. So let's talk about the second. There's 3 of them all together. So the second one is consistently taking action. You're in my living room. All right. Accidentally changed the color of text. So let me change that back because I don't like that to be in cyan. There we go. Well, it's good to know where you're at. So I appreciate you being here. Okay, what was I saying? So consistently taking action. And so we got the first part, right? Taking action. We talked about that. And so we're adding on to that, right? Adding another little piece to the front of it, consistently taking action. So not just taking action, but taking action consistently. And sometimes this is where we get stuck, right? So maybe we do start taking some steps, right? We do start doing the thing that's going to bring about the change. But then something happens, we get thrown off, things don't go quite right, things come up, and we get discouraged. And there's all kinds of reasons, but we stop doing the thing, right? We're not doing it consistently anymore. Maybe we're not getting the outcome that we wanted, that we were hoping for, right? It didn't turn out quite like we wanted. And again, I'm going to go back to this just because I feel like this is a good example with exercising. You know, that's how I was with exercising, where it's like, you know, you work out 2 days in a row and you're like, yeah, I should have lost like 20 pounds, right? With those 2 exercise sessions that I did, right? Didn't I lose all this weight, burned all those calories? And it doesn't work that way, right? You really don't see any results for a while, especially with exercise. And there's many things that are like that, where you're not going to see any change if you're just doing it a few times and then quitting, right? And so what really makes a difference is the consistency. And that's why it's so important to go ahead and get started, right? Because it is going to take a little while. And it is okay if it's small action, but it's that consistency. It's that doing it every day or however often, right? You're just doing the thing consistently. And so that's going to bring about that change over time. And so you have to really remember that it's not about just doing this one big thing, right? It's not just about this one event, this one time you did it, that you tried it, and that's going to make all the difference. Typically, right, it takes a long time to bring about a lasting change in our lives. And so are you willing to commit to that? Are you willing to consistently do that? As many of you know, I'm also a preacher. And one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, excuse me, take a drink of water here. One of the best pieces of advice I got from one of my professors in Bible college was talking about preaching, you know, the whole practice of it. He says, you're probably never going to preach one sermon that's just going to change everybody's life. You know, you're probably not going to preach that sermon that's just going to make all the difference. That one sermon is just going to turn everybody around and get everybody going in the right direction and just going to like really have this huge impact, right? Which at first that seems kind of discouraging. But then he followed up with, it's more about consistently giving them the word of God, right? He says, it's not like this one big sermon that was one and done. It's going to be consistently over a period of time, hearing the word preached over and over and over again. That's going to make the difference. He actually compared it to Chinese water torture, right? Just a drip at a time, drip, drip, drip. And eventually, right, that's going to bring about a change. And so I always like that because it kind of took the pressure off a little bit. And I think it does, right? If you realize that it's more about consistency and it's okay if it's imperfect, then that takes the pressure off, right? That takes the pressure off the one time you're doing it, that particular time, that instance of you taking action. It takes the pressure off of it having to be perfect, because it's not going to be that one thing that makes the difference. It's going to be the consistently doing it over and over again that's really going to make the difference. And so are you willing to be consistent with it? That's the big question. And then there's one final piece of this, which is being determined. So being determined to consistently take action. So it ends up being this sentence, right? This whole phrase, being determined to consistently take action. So we got the take action part, we got the consistently part, and now we add the last piece, which is being determined. So what does that add to it, right? Like, why did I put that part in there? Well, determination is when we do it, even when our motivation to do it is low, right? Even when we don't feel like doing it. And that's what allows it to be consistent. That's what allows it to continue to move us forward, because we're determined to do it. If we only do it when we feel good about it, when we feel motivated, when we feel encouraged, then there's going to be times that doesn't come through, right? Maybe we don't feel as encouraged. Maybe we don't feel as motivated. And so if we're not determined to do it, even when we don't have that, then we won't be consistent, right? We'll never follow through and actually do the thing that we are telling ourselves that we want, that's going to bring about this change in our life that we want. We got to have determination, right? So determination is going to be there to help us push through the doubt, going to help us push through any resistance that we get when we start to make those changes, when we start to take that action. And with any setbacks, there's inevitably going to be roadblocks. There's inevitably going to be setbacks, things that we didn't foresee, things that pop up that slow us down, that make us have to readjust and recalibrate. And if we don't have the determination, it's very possible that those setbacks will just end us taking action, right? It'll end that thing that we're trying to do. And so really it's about a mindset that we have. Are we determined to do it? Are we set on doing it regardless of the outcome, right? Regardless of if it, works as smoothly as we want, if there's challenges, if there's setbacks, are we still going to push through those obstacles that inevitably will come up? And that's what really determination is, right? So it's not about motivation, right? Motivation's great. When we feel motivated to do something, that's the best, right? Like when you feel motivated to go for a jog, to exercise, I don't really know what that feeling's like. You tell me what that's like. But it's a great feeling when you feel motivated, you feel excited. You're like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. This is going to work. This is going to be life changing for me. This is going to be, amazing. That feels great. Right. And ride that. Yeah, that's great. Ride that high, ride that feeling. And definitely jump into that and embrace it. But also remember, there's going to be times when you don't feel that. When you don't feel like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. There's going to be times where you feel like, oh man, do I really want to do this? This doesn't feel great, right? I feel discouraged. I feel like it's not working like I thought it would. Why isn't it working? Is there something wrong with me? Am I not doing it right? What's going on? And it's in those times that we really kind of discover who we are. Are we the type of person that's going to really push through that? Are we really determined to do this or not? That's going to make the huge difference, I really think. So it ends up being those three things: being determined to consistently take action. So I want to challenge you. What's one small action that you can set up for yourself to do, right? And okay if it's imperfect, but to consistently do it and be determined to do it. So I want to challenge you, if you're watching this, if you're interested in taking this challenge, right? Put in the comments what that action is going to be. You don't have to get too specific if you don't want to share too specific of information about it. But put in the comments what the action is and that you are going to be determined to take that action. And let me know, right? I'm going to follow up. So I'm going to be talking more about this kind of stuff. Feel free to post any questions. I'll follow up with you. Even if we're not live anymore, post comments. and I'll definitely reach out and follow up with you. And if this is something that you're interested in pursuing more and you think you could use some professional help with that and kind of really digging deeper into what action you need to take in order to get to where you want, right? Maybe you're struggling with that part of it. Maybe you're not even sure what is the action that I need to take, right? I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what that would look like. I'd be happy to talk with you more about that and kind of maybe help you get some clarity around that. So just let me know. Well, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and it's going to stay up. And feel free to reach out to me anytime. Hope you guys have a great night.